This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. Good afternoon. New travel restrictions take effect as the Omicron variant travels around the world, now being found in at least 17 states. Plus, 2 local high school football teams are preparing to head to state championship games. A look at their exciting wins this weekend on this Monday, December 6th, 2021. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Maddie Jansen. We begin with our 17 News homicide tracker. It ticked up over the weekend, and we now stand at least 130 homicides so far this year by our count. Last year, we saw a deadly new record in Kern County with 140 killings. Sheriff's investigators are looking into what they believe was a murder-suicide in a South Bakersfield neighborhood yesterday morning. 17's Marco Torres has more.
What Kern County Sheriff's Office says is a suspected murder-suicide just north of Valley Plaza Mall and south of Highway 58. Now what's even worse is this neighborhood is no stranger to violence. It all started before noon. Deputies were called to a neighborhood in South Bakersfield where they arrived only minutes after being dispatched.
At 11:37 this morning, deputies were dispatched to the 300 block of Hughes Lane for the reports of a shooting.
Deputies made a grim discovery when they arrived on the scene.
When deputies arrived, they located a deceased adult female inside the residence and a deceased adult male inside a vehicle outside.
It's not yet confirmed who attacked the other person or what led up to the confrontation. Neighbors said they didn't even hear gunshots, but only heard the sirens and police once they arrived. According to our records, this is the 5th murder-suicide in Kern County this year. Almost a year ago today, a double homicide happened on the same street in the neighborhood. And just weeks ago, less than a mile away on Hughes Street, a man allegedly sexually assaulted a woman over 80 years old. The exact details are still unknown, but the Sheriff's Office says they are investigating, and you can be sure we'll give you that information on our website at kget.com. From South Bakersfield, Marco Torres, 17 News.
Meantime, law enforcement are also investigating a deadly shooting in Wasco. Sheriff's deputies say 2 men were shot on G and 16th Streets just after 6:30 Saturday night. One was rushed to the hospital, but the other died at the scene. No arrests have been made. Now to coronavirus news. Tighter travel restrictions kick in today for international travelers entering the U.S. All visitors must now show proof of a negative COVID-19 test within 1 day of travel instead of the usual 3 days. The move is all part of President Biden's plan to control the spread of the new Omicron variant. In addition, the president has also extended the mask requirement for buses, trains, and domestic planes through March. And now to the latest numbers in Kern County. Kern Public Health reported 14 new deaths from the virus on Friday. More than 1,800 people have died from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. Public Health also reported 261 cases. Again, these are the latest numbers as of Friday. State data, however, as of today shows that 129 people are being treated in the local hospital and 39 are in the ICU. Season when the Independence Falcons weren't sure if they'd win one game. Now, after an instant classic, they are 1 win away from being crowned state champions. Fresh off their 8th straight win, the Falcons traveled to Venice High Friday night. Late in the third quarter, Venice scored a 57-yard touchdown to pull the game within 5 points. But in the final seconds, DeMonte Moten picked off an interception in the end zone as time expired, securing the win. The final score, Independence 19, Venice High 14.
Just excited to be able to get to that, the holy grail of all football. No matter if you're in the pros or in college, playing for a state championship is up there with some of the greatest things in life. So I'm excited for these boys to be able to have that opportunity.
The Falcons will play in the Division 5AA state championship at San Marin High School Saturday at 6 p.m. And from a police escort to a packed house, Bakersfield rallied behind their Patriots as Brian Nixon's team sought to make school history Saturday night. Needless to say, Liberty football did not disappoint. After taking down Pittsburgh 35-7, the Patriots are heading to their first state title game in school history. The team will play in the Division 1A championship game Saturday at Saddleback College. And if this weekend was any indication, Bakersfield will be right beside them.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OB/GYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
Tomorrow marks 80 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor. United Veterans of Kern will hold their annual Day of Remembrance at Union Cemetery with a few new faces. For the first time ever, the event will feature 2 descendants of Pearl Harbor survivors as guest speakers. Organizer Mark Sandal says it's important to share the stories and memories of a dwindling population of survivors.
Soon, they'll all be gone. And my dad was a World War II veteran, and we want to honor and remember those who came home, and then not forget about the ones who died that day, in December 7th, that Sunday morning.
The event will also feature musical guests, a roll call of survivors, a wreath-laying ceremony, and a moment of silence at 9:55 a.m. 80 years to the minute since the start of the attack. It's open to the public. Organizers ask people arrive before 9:50 to observe the moment of silence. Well, 20 years ago yesterday, Staff Sergeant Brian Cody Prosser was killed in Afghanistan. Yesterday, the Los Angeles Times published a front-page story looking back on Prosser's life and death. Friends and family of the Fraser Park native now saying they believe he may have died in vain. On December 5, 2001, a misguided U.S. bomb slammed into an Afghan hillside. Prosser was struck in the head by a piece of shrapnel from the bomb. He died, one of the first American casualties in the war that would stretch on for decades. In yesterday's LA Times, a front-page story details in depth and for the first time Prosser's tumultuous upbringing in Kern County. Conversations with Prosser's mother, his widow, and fellow soldiers that he served with raised the question of whether his death had meaning. Prosser's mother, Ingrid Solhag, quoted in the piece, "Of course I think his death was in vain. My son is dead." Sunday's story, written by Thomas Kerwin, included interviews with a dozen of Prosser's friends and family members, and you can find that full story in Sunday's edition of the Times or on their website, latimes.com. Your time now is 12:09, and in making news around the nation, the Biden administration announces a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Beijing Olympics. The move comes as pressure is mounting from lawmakers to protest China's human rights abuses against the Uyghur community, and a crackdown on free speech in Hong Kong have led human rights groups and lawmakers to use the Olympics to make that statement while attention's on the games. A diplomatic boycott means that no U.S. government officials will attend the games, but U.S. athletes are still allowed to compete. Making news around town, it was a red carpet affair Saturday night as the Mayor's Ball returned to downtown Bakersfield. The ball raises money for CityServe Kern County, which works to expand the reach of local churches and programs that feed those in need. The organization also provides job training for the homeless population and other underserved communities. Last year's ball raised more than $271,000. Organizers say so far this year's ball brought in $543,700 for CityServe Kern County, but they're still counting. Happening this holiday season, you can make this season a little brighter for local children through our 17 Days of Christmas toy drive. You can drop off those toys and gifts for kids of all ages, including teenagers, up until December 17th during regular business hours at the following locations, either down here at our studios, that's Ellen 22nd Streets, or the Bakersfield Homeless Center on East Truxtun Avenue, or the Boys and Girls Clubs of Kern County on Niles Street. All right, we're just 2 days away from our annual Day of Giving for the Children's Miracle Network and Bakersfield Memorial Hospital. We're teaming up with Lawrence Small Children's Center at BMH to help raise funds to purchase equipment that will further enhance medical care for children in Kern County. 17's Jim Scott and Tammy Milchok will host the day-long event, and we hope to hear from you on Wednesday starting during 17 News at Sunrise at 5 a.m. bright and early. And remember, every dollar that is pledged in Kern County stays in Kern County. Well, according to the latest Lindbergh survey, the average U.S. price of regular gasoline dropped 2 cents over the past 2 weeks. A regular gallon of gas now costs $3.46, which is about $1.24 higher than it was a year ago. Nationwide, the highest average price for regular gas is in the San Francisco Bay Area at $4.80 per gallon. The lowest is in Houston at $2.91 a gallon. Meantime, here's a look at the average price in Kern compared to the state and the nation. Right now, AAA reports the average price for a gallon of regular gas in Bakersfield is $4.65. A month ago, it was $4.57. And last year at this time, $3.11. We hit the highest recorded average price 1 week ago on the 29th, when gas was an average of $4.66 per gallon. Chick-fil-A lovers will have to wait a bit longer before Bakersfield's only location reopens. The company posted to social media over the weekend saying it does not have an exact reopening date, but major progress has been made on remodeling. Chick-fil-A says it added a bypass lane to the drive-thru and straightened out a curve that gave customers some trouble. The location closed in August to begin the remodeling project. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.